Within 24 hours, 1.16 billion CRO will be unlocking after the golden age for CRO proposal. But what will this do for the CRO price? Well guys, I would say let's strap in and let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only Coin Baron, and this video is sponsored by Moonlander, a leverage trading platform on Cronos where you can go long or short, and that might be handy with the upcoming volatility for CRO. Because as you can see here, the first vesting amount for CRO after the 70 billion mint will be happening on Thursday the 17th of April at about 1 PM GMT. So after this upload, within only 24 hours. That is also though where we see most confusion. For example, with this comment here. I'm confused. Isn't the unlock supposed to happen after 5 years? I thought the idea was to lock up 70 million CRO in escrow. And of course, this has to be 70 billion CRO. But Mr. Rodriguez here is 50% right and 50% wrong. Because yes, the 70 billion CRO is slowly going into escrow after 5 years. But the unlock is not going to happen after only 5 years. And let me show you that in the proposal. The most important information here can be found below the introduction of the Cronos strategic reserve. And guys, all the links will be in the description down below. And if you're there, don't forget to hit the like button and also strap in for more. But okay, let's continue here, because those 70 billion CRO tokens that were burned are being brought back into the Cronos strategic reserve escrow wallet. So that is where they are right now. That's also what you can see if you go to MintScan. This is the wallet. This is the escrow wallet with currently 70 billion CRO tokens. Then they continue the article by talking about a new 5-year lockup for the strategic reserve escrow wallet that I've just shown you. But then they kind of confuse you by also talking about this here. They want to do that lockup on top of the 5-year lockup that has already passed since CRO original issuance on Ethereum. So that would bring up the total vesting period to 10 years. But that's looking into the past, guys. That 5-year lockup has already happened. That's already done. So I think it's just very weird to even mention the 10 years here. It's only to really show that they are committed to the future of CRO. But I think for clarity's sake, just say it is the 5-year lockup, and that 5-year lockup will be vesting, because as mentioned here, vesting linearly every month. That means every 30.4 days, a bit or 70 billion CRO will be unlocked until 2030. Anyways, now we know that this escrow wallet is slowly going to release CRO over the next 5 years. But where are they releasing into? Well, it will be going into the Cronos strategic reserve, whatever that might be. Because if you take a look at other strategic reserves, for example, you can take a look at the National Gold Reserve or the more recent strategic Bitcoin reserve for the US. If you take a look at their reserves, they're typically not selling and only accumulating. For example, Donald J. Trump signed a decree that I'm not going to sell Bitcoin for the next few years. But will we see the same thing for CRO? And I do not think so. In the most recent AMA with CEO Chris of Crypto.com, he did mention that Cronos needs to go on the aggressive to remain relevant and to gain more mindshare in the crypto universe. And that's also why I did mention we need that 70 billion mint for certain use cases, like you can find on this picture here. For example, a part of that fund will be used for development or grants and incubation, and also maybe more incentives. And typically those funds, those grants and incubations, do have their own vesting period, but also typically are sold at some point because developers and influencers and whatever, they need to eat. So there will be more sell pressure coming from this 70 billion mint. But I do not think it's all doom and gloom, and I do think there are actually quite some positives coming from this as well. So let's talk about the positive sides after a quick word from our sponsor. If you're feeling bullish or bearish, Moonlander is the place to be. On Moonlander, you can go long or you can go short and use a crazy amount of leverage, up to 1000x on, for example, Bitcoin. And the cool thing is, guys, there is still no token out for Moonlander, so do expect an airdrop as well. check out Moonlander right now in the link in the description down below and start trading your first longs or shorts. Back though to the CRO unlock, because I did mention there will probably be additional sell pressure. However, if the positives outweigh the negative, we can see the price increase. So let's talk about the positives in the short term and also in the long term. The immediate effect of this unlock is that also on sites like CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, you will see the circulating supply increase, because currently it mentions here a total of 97 billion, but minus the vesting wallet of 70 billion. So tomorrow I do expect it to rise by 1.16 after CoinGecko is updated. And the fun thing, of course, with that is that also the market cap is going to rise, because the market cap is the product of, well, the price versus the circulating supply. Therefore, it should be going up about 100 million, given that we do not see much sell pressure. With the additional 100 million US dollar worth of market cap, the CRO ranking is also going to change, because currently it's ranked as number 50 here for CRO with about a $2.25 billion market cap. But if we add that 100 million, we're going to increase 1, 2, 3 spots here. So we go to number 47. And of course, going to number 47, that's not a big change. But if we repeat that a few more times, about 60 times even, we're going to slowly grow into the top 20 here regarding market cap. And that's actually quite important, because as Chris mentioned, currently there are companies working on baskets, including the top 20 tokens. So that is really their goal, become top 20, so it can be seen by retail, because retail is mainly looking here at the top 20 tokens, and also for institutions creating baskets. Another short-term effect of the unlock is that Crypto.com can now start seeding the ETFs for Cronos, because recently we got the news that Crypto.com is partnering up with Trop Media to offer ETFs, and those ETF offerings will also include CRO. And having ETFs is not a way to drive demand for the token. So that's also a good thing for the short term. But that's not everything. I also would like to talk about this development fund and grants and incubation. We talked a bit about it earlier as really a negative, as some extra sell pressure. But what we did not mention is that typically those incentives for development funds work with a tiered approach. So you start on a chain, you get a small amount of CRO just to get your feet wet. However, if you really want to get the high rewards, you really need to reach certain milestones. So it can be a certain amount of users, can be a certain amount of TVL. If that goal is reached, then you get the big reward. So it's a bit like a carrot on a stick. And we kind of need such a carrot as well, because if you take a look here at the total value lock, for example, or at any other metric, you can see that CRO, the Cronos chain, is all the way, where is it? Number 18. It is not relevant enough. We need to grow, and to grow, we need also external developers. In all honesty, becoming an attractive chain for developers is a long-term game plan. So I just want you guys to understand that in the short term, the relative sell pressure from those developers is going to be very minimal. Only if they reach those high milestones, then they will get a big bag of crow. But I think that will definitely be worth it, because if those developers are successful, they will attract more users to the chain as well. And what do those new users want? Well, of course, more crow. So in this case, guys, the additional demand will offset the additional supply. While we're talking about supply and demand, let's also take a look at the mathematical equation for the worst case scenario, because honestly, guys, we simply do not know how much crow will get in circulation. I do not think it will be much with the first unlock, but let's say the worst is going to happen. Let's say that 1.16 billion is coming to the market, because then we can just simply do some math here, because we do know there's always a new equilibrium price once the supply is changing. And it is a actually very simple formula. And if we do the math, it will come out to a new equilibrium price of 7.9 cents per crow. And currently we're trading at about 8.3. So the additional supply will lower the price, but not by too much. Personally, I do believe that what's happening currently in the world with the tariffs, with the stock market, with Bitcoin is more important for the CRO price than this increasing supply. But okay, at least now you know both sides of the sword. Let me know in the comments down below if you became a bit more bearish due to this news, or you are just, you know, the same old, same old. Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this kind of content, do not forget to hit the like button and also strap in very firmly. And if you'd like to learn more, I also did just do a little bit of a market analysis, so check out that video as well.